Wait just a couple of seconds in case it hasn't started yet. Hey everybody, and welcome to Robin's house. So it has been a while since I went over what one can get with a new starter kit. So generally, when you sign up to become a new demonstrator, it costs $99. And generally, you have $125 of credits that you can spend to get yourself started. And sometimes it costs less, sometimes you get more, but that's the basic. And so I just wanted to have a thing where it says what you should get. So the basic supplies that everybody needs is, for example, this trimmer. This trimmer is very lovely, and it is the Stampin' Up! Trimmer. And it is, whether you're a scrapbooker or a card maker, this is perfect. It has a blade, a cutting blade, and it has a scoring blade, and both of them have a house outside of the cutting and scoring area so that they always live in there. You've got an extended handle, and so this one I think this is quite a lovely trimmer. It is also a terrific price. So and I also recommend that you get an extra pack of blades because they are not last forever blades. They will run out and it will shred your white paper sooner than the others. So as long as you're aware of that. The next thing that I could not live without are the Stampin' Dimensionals. Now there's big Stampin' Dimensionals. You can't really see on here. There are big Stampin' Dimensionals and small Stampin' Dimensionals, and I love them both. And I love that you can use the outsides of the pack to get the most out of your Stampin' Dimensionals. They're just lovely. You must have those. This multi-purpose glue, I am a wet glue person. I'm not a Stampin' Seal. I'm not a tape runner person, so I like my wet glue. And so I recommend getting this to get you started. So any of these items that you already have allow you to just move farther down the list. Now, if you're a card maker, in my mind, the first things you need to have is some cardstock that you can cut in half for regular size card bases and some envelopes. So that is obvious. Well, not obvious, but I mean, that's essential. There are also card packs with these cute size cards and envelopes. So the cards and the envelopes come together in a pack of 20 of them. And so that is also quite nice. So that is a great start for the card making kits. Another thing that you could get started on is Stampin' Up! Actually has card making kits, some with stamps and messages, and some that come with pre-printed messages. So the pre-printed ones are not going to cost as much because they don't come with an ink spot and they don't come with a stamp set and a block. But these card kits are a great way to increase your stamp collection, your color collection, and your block collection. So I think that one of these at least would be a great start. And it also kind of gives you a heads up on what creating a card might look like. And then, of course, you're generally going to need a paper pack. So there's always paper packs come and go. Something new is always coming. And we've got 12 by 12, and we've also got 6 by 6. And so everyone's a little different. But I will tell you that when you're just starting out, these basic ones, this one is in Everyday Essentials, like mix and match. It has a little bit of very different patterns. So you're not locked into a lot of big, heavy patterns. And same with this one. This is a mixed up patterns. So these are both intended to be general use. Whereas this lakeside one is going to have very lakeish, outdoorsish. This seaside one is going to be very sunsetty, So I would recommend getting some generic ones to start off with. And then, of course, it's always fun to have an embellishment of some kind just to jazz up your cards. And it makes a fast and easy way to add a little pop and a little pizzazz, sometimes some shimmer and some shine, or some metal to the boy cards. So those are your card making basic needs. Now for scrapbooking, we've got all kinds of ready to go scrapbooking kits. So these have a partial paper pack, all the cardstock, guide, cutting guide, and assembly guide, and everything that you need to create 3 two-page layouts. So they're a great deal, and that's a great way to get yourself situated on how a scrapbook should go and how it should look. We already talked about the paper packs. It's also time to start thinking about just plain old white willow cardstock. And we also have colored cardstock, and we also have coordinated cardstock. So coordinated cardstock is still going to have the 12 sheets in there, but you're going to have 2 each of 6 different colors, or sometimes 3 each of 4 colors or whatever. But the cardstock, coordinating cardstocks are a great way to build up your colors without having quite so many. And then there's also the silver foil. So I adore the silver foil and the gold foil because it adds a little bit of shine and it just cuts so nicely and it die cuts beautifully. So that's a great way to add something fun to your pages or your cards. So the rest of the stuff is just going to be basic tools and things that you would need. I recommend getting watercolor pencils, because the only thing you need is either a blender pen, which comes in a 2 or 3 pack, I'm not sure, or painter blenders, water painters, which come in a 3 pack, and you're done. You can color anything once you have watercolor pencils. I prefer the water painters because I like the look of watercolor. Some people like the control of the blender pen a little bit better, so it's just up to you. But once you have some colors and a method for blending them, you're all set for coloring. So you don't need to worry about anything for a while. And you're going to need an ink pad. Now, my hybrid ink pad has gone astray, and it is the same, similar enough to the Memento, where if you already have a Memento, you do not need to buy the hybrid. But if you don't have either, then I would get yourself a hybrid ink pad so that you have a basic black to work with in your stamping and your coloring. And of course, there's blocks and stamp pads. And we talked a little bit about Stampin' Seal. This is tape runner. I use it mostly to put down things like where I want my photo to go on my layout, but I know I'm going to pick that up later. Now, that isn't to say that's how it's supposed to be used, but I just put on a smidgelet of it so I can pull it back up. It is supposed to be permanent. I just don't use it that way. And many people prefer to use tape runner over wet glue. You could always get a bone folder, or you could get blending brushes, works with your ink pads to create another look. And then there's the ephemera. So we talked about mix and match ephemera paper, mix and match paper, but these are intended to go with those papers. So these are generally 2 each of 6 designed punch outs. Sometimes they come with sticky on the back and sometimes they don't. This one is my absolute favorite. It has messages for your card making. Again, 2 sheets of 3 designs. One of the designs is black with white letters. Super fun. And then there's sheets with just flowers, and sheets with holidays, and sheets with more holidays. So once you get your basics, and you can start graduating into stamps and die cuts and things like that. But those basic things, as you work your way down the list, those are going to be the most important things as you build your stash. And then, of course, we don't want to do everything all at once. We'll get overwhelmed. So just pick your way through the list as you go until you're comfortable and ready to move on to the next thing. So I hope that helps. I would love to have you on my team and hope we get you off to a great start. So thank you so much for watching. Happy crafting.